Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal, Mr. Butter, coming back at you again. I'm recording this video on the day that we saw the Cool Gray 9s release. I grabbed a pair at my local Finish Line, and I want to get into them with y'all. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's take a look at these Cool Gray Jordan 9s. All right, y'all, what is happening? It's good to be back here with y'all. I am pretty pumped to get into this pair today. I think as far as 9s go, it's not really my favorite silhouette. It's not a Jordan silhouette that I find myself wearing as much as like a 1 or a 3. However, this particular colorway is probably my favorite colorway available on a Jordan 9. We haven't seen this one released a whole lot. I'm pretty sure that the first time the Jordan 9 released was when Jordan was on his break from playing in the NBA. So it wasn't one that he had like a home colorway that he played in, an away colorway that he played in. You know, there's no like playoff 9s that you ever hear about or anything like that. I don't think it was until he came back from retirement that we ever saw Jordan wearing a 9 while playing in the NBA. Could be wrong. I didn't do a whole lot of research, but I think he only wore this whenever he was playing for the Wizards. Even though he never had any championships with the Wizards, I really like that era because the Bullets and the Wizards were always kind of like my home team that I cheered for whenever I was a kid. And we would go to Bullets games. We would go see the Wizards play. I think a lot of times we would go and see them whenever they played the Hornets because I was a real big Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Muggsy Bogues fan. The Hornets were probably my favorite team to root for, but when Jordan was playing, I was always cheering him on because he was just the GOAT. He's still the GOAT. Nobody comes close, but that's a whole other conversation. I was able to grab these at my local Finish Line. For some reason, they didn't do EA for in-store pickup at my local store. I don't know why that is. They had a full-size run, and they may have even had multiples of each size. They had plenty of them. Whenever I got there, probably around 10:30 in the morning, there were multiple pairs on the wall, and they pretty much just said that they had all sizes available. So I don't know if there had been anybody in there asking about them prior to me, but it looked like they disappeared online really fast. That doesn't really surprise me because I don't think numbers were really high as far as production goes on this pair. The fact that Jordan did play in this colorway, it does make them more appealing and more sought after, at least to old heads such as myself. So it really didn't surprise me that they disappeared online, but I do think that the whole sneaker game is still kind of up in the air. It's kind of hard to predict what certain pairs are going to do, but I wasn't surprised that this one disappeared. I really like what they did with this box. At first glance, it doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary, and it kind of reminds me of the Cool Gray 11 Jordan box, but the more that you look at it, the top of it is like a lighter shade of gray, and it's a flat finish, like almost like a matte finish. It doesn't have a gloss on it at all. And then the bottom is more glossy, and it's a darker gray. And at first that just seems like no big deal or whatever, but it matches the shoes perfectly. And I just think Jordan Brand is killing it this year. Just simple little touches like this. It just feels like they're putting more effort into things this year than what we've seen in more recent years. And I love it. I hope they keep it up. I like it when it feels like they put thought into a release like this. I think that the retail price was $210 US. I used a $20 off coupon, and I think my total was $201. When you're paying over $200 for a pair of shoes, it does feel good whenever you can notice that they at least put some thought into it. The tag reads Air Jordan 9 Retro. The colors are medium gray, cool gray, and white. I went with a half size up from my regular size. I got a size 10.5 on this pair because 9s can really kill the outside of my foot, a lot like some Jordan 4s do. They can really just rub on my wide feet, so I always go a half size up with Jordan 9s. Alright, but that's enough of my box talk. Have a look at these beautiful retros. The material on these isn't anything that makes me say, oh, this is premium, this is, you know, the best material I've ever felt. But they are just so clean, and I feel like they executed these so well. I really like the shape on this pair as well. The toe box isn't really high. It's got a nice rounded front to it, and looking down on the shoe, I also think they look good. These things are just incredibly clean, and I think that gray and white color scheme is just so cool looking. It's really easy to wear too. Like, you could wear this pair with just about anything. I was surprised. I asked my wife what she thought about these, and a lot of times with, you know, retro basketball silhouettes, they're really not her cup of tea. But whenever she saw these, she was like, oh, those are nice. I really like those. It's just a very, very clean looking shoe. And the Jordan 9 isn't a silhouette that I have a whole lot of pairs of. And this might be my favorite colorway of the Jordan 9. It's not an OG colorway. It's not one of the colors that were available in 93 or 94. It wasn't until years later that this colorway was even available, but because of the fact that Jordan actually played in these and wore these during his NBA career, I think that just really makes these more special in my book. The theme of the Jordan 9 was when basketball was kind of going worldwide, and that was largely attributed to the Dream Team back in the early 90s. But you can see that kind of worldwide theme on these through little hits like that globe on the heel. You can see that globe again up here underneath the forefoot. And right beside that, we have a lot of font. I can't tell what it says because it's all in different languages. Moving back the outsole, we can see that there's a 1994 there. Right beside that, it looks like we have some like Chinese characters or something. And then underneath the heel, we see that white Jumpman, and it's over top of a big number 23. The rubber on the outsole is a nice gray color, and it's a translucent rubber, but I think it just looks really clean up against that bright white. I like that this whole sneaker is just gray and white. That translucent gray rubber kind of wraps up to the midsole area here on the side, and we have a little white Jumpman, but the rest of the midsole is just kind of like a bright white painted foam. It looks really nice and clean. Just up from that midsole, we can see that we've got a gray patent leather, and again, it seems like it's a decent material. It's not what I would call premium or anything like that, but I love the color. It looks nice and clean. It's not scratched up or scuffed up, and it's not real wavy or anything. I just think these things look clean as a whistle. As we get to the back of the shoe, that patent leather kind of wraps up and goes up by the collar as well. We have a white 23 embroidered on there, and then as I already pointed out, we've got this little globe accent with the Jumpman over top of it. The base material for the upper is a lighter shade of gray than what we have for that patent leather, and it feels like a Durabuck or a Nubuck, whatever you want to call it. I don't think it is a genuine material. It doesn't really have the feel of a really natural nubuck. It might be some percentage of a natural material mixed with a synthetic material. I don't know. I don't really care about how it feels or the fact that it might not be 100% genuine. I think it looks really, really nice, and it feels decent to the touch, but most of all, it just looks so clean. I really like these areas that we have that give it a little bit of texture coming up, because this isn't a shoe that has a whole bunch of panels overlaid on the base layer. For the most part, this upper is just one layer, but it adds a lot of depth to it whenever we get these little areas of just texture surrounded by that stitching. I think it's just a really neat look. I think it adds some character to these shoes and just makes them more interesting. Our tongue is what we'd expect on a Jordan 9. It's kind of like a mesh material, but it's got some elasticity to it. It's pretty breathable, and it's in that same color that we have for the base material of the upper. We got white rope style laces in this pair. It didn't come with extras, but I think these look good. I can't imagine swapping them to something different. For our lacing system, we have a little bit darker of a gray color, and it's just these plastic loops that go all the way up the sneaker. At the top of the tongue, we have a darker gray tag, and it says Air Jordan. Our sock liner is a nice cool gray material to match this upper, and it's kind of got like a sock on the inside of it. You can see right here. It's also got this canvas loop there on the back that's in a gray matching color, and that just helps you put the shoe on. It looks like our insole is gray, but it's got a white Jumpman down on there. And that was a pretty quick look at these cool gray Jordan 9s. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Jordan 9 fan, but I think this is probably my favorite colorway of the Jordan 9. And I think this is an extremely wearable sneaker. They do kind of remind you of a boot, but they still have that sporty kind of look to them. I just think these things came out really well, and I'm glad that I was able to get them pretty easily from my local store. I hope if you all wanted them, you were able to get yourselves a pair. It does seem like Nike or Jordan Brand has been cutting back production, and it does seem like it's driving the demand up. I think this year has been absolutely insane with the retros that we've seen coming out, whether it's an OG or if it's just a colorway that has a lot of history such as this one. I think the Jordan Brand is really just doing everything they can to ensure that they're keeping us wanting more, and I gotta say, it's working for me, so I hope they keep doing it. I'm on a quest to get to 25,000 subs in the year 2025, so if you're still watching this and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, do me a favor and hit that thing. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I appreciate you. I will catch y'all on the next one. I'm out.